Greetings and welcome to another edition of Science Sunday here in our capital city at the Connecticut Science Center. Today joined by Jace. Good morning.
Morning, Mark. How are you doing?
Doing well. What do you have for us today?
So I have maybe more a classic science experiment, but we are going to break that paint stirrer by simply just using this piece of paper to help us out.
Okay.
So essentially what's going to happen here in a moment is I'm going to strike down on this paint stirrer, and what we're going to see is hopefully it breaks in half. Now, there's a couple things we have to consider when we do this. So all around us right now, there's a bunch of air.
Yes.
We call that air that's around us, that's air pressure. It's constantly around us. We can't feel it because we've been used to it our entire lives, but it's there. It's always around. And that air pressure is also pushing down on that paper. So with that in mind, when I go and I strike this, it breaks.
It breaks.
Right in half.
Yeah.
So what's happening is I'm pushing down on this ruler, and the ruler wants to go down, so that's where the force is going. But in order for the ruler to move, it needs to move this piece of paper. Now, this is a big piece of paper, and we have a lot of air on top of this paper. So this piece of paper has to move all that air so then our paint stirrer can move, and it can't do that. It's too much. We call that air resistance, or inertia is that resistance to movement. So the air resistance is too much for the paint stirrer to lift that piece of paper up. I'm pushing down, too much force, and it breaks in half. Now it's kind of a similar process. We look at something called maybe a suction cup too. So on our little display here, if you pick that up, we can pick it right up. That might not look at anything at first, but if you actually put it down, we can see it's just kind of a mat with a little screw on the end there. So what's happening with this example in creating suction is, let me pick it up again. When you pick it up from that knob, we have the air pressure pushing down on top. We have the air pressure pushing in from the bottom. And there's just a little bit of air inside the mat, and it's pretty negligible. We don't have to consider it too much. It's not doing too much. So it's pushing those two together and creating a suction cup.
All right.
Just a little cool bit with air pressure resistance.
And just back to this briefly, the size of paper, you said it was a big piece of paper, that plays a big role in how this is going to work. If it was a smaller piece of paper, it would have maybe not broken the paint stirrer.
Yeah, so the smaller the paper, the easier it is for that paint stirrer to move. So the bigger the piece of paper we have, the bigger, the more flat it is, because we don't want any air to get underneath this.
Yeah.
So we want minimal air underneath and a lot of air on top. And the more we have, the more we got to move, and the harder time the paint stirrer is going to have.
Makes sense. We've got coming up today, kind of continuing a theme with you guys, character days here at the Science Center.
Yeah, so we have another group of characters coming in today. We have everyone's favorite prince and princess, Cinderella and Prince Charming. They'll be coming in to hang out with us, take some photos, hopefully not losing any glass slippers.
So this is part of a series you guys have ongoing right now. So you've had it over the past couple of weeks and you got more to come. So ctsciencecenter.org, you can learn more about all the different characters.
Yeah, definitely come see us today. Come see the characters that are still to come, and we hope to see you here.
All right, Jace, thank you so much. And of course, we'll see you for another edition of Science Sunday next weekend.